We were big fans of the eride Pro SR Standard Edition, but there was a few things with that bike that we didn't really love.
It is faster than any of these bikes need to be.
It's getting bigger, heavier, and the front end is still short and low, and I don't understand why it's not being addressed. And it appears that eride Pro was listening, because they just released this new SR edition for 2026. But the question is, did they actually address all of our problems? We're about to find out. Okay, eride Pro SR Special Edition. Everything on this bike is going to be the same as the Standard Edition. The only difference is eride Pro has a new app that I want to show you. So turn the bike on, let this thing power up. Once it's on, you can open up the eride Pro app. This is the new app you just need to download, and then it'll show you right away the Bluetooth connectivity options. The bike comes with Bluetooth, so you don't have to do anything there. Just click eride Pro and it will connect to your bike. All right, once it's connected, it'll say connected. It says SR, telling me my battery percentage. And the first thing I'll do is come over here to behavior. I've already got all of the sensors turned off, but you can go through and turn whichever one's on or off that you want. You've also got your thumb switch, which is your lever here. You can make that either a throttle or a brake. We're going to leave it as a brake, and you just want to save that stuff whenever you make any changes, and that will save your settings. Going to go over here to tune and make some adjustments here. So in terms of tune, you can change your max power output. You can go eco, sport, and race mode. Race mode's giving you the full kit and caboodle right there. Max power, max speed. I'm probably going to detune sport just a little bit, maybe make this 70. And max speed doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to turn that down to 70, and then I'm going to do eco down to like 50. All right, then we can save that. You can set a pin code if you want to put settings in here and make sure that they don't change, like if you have a kid or something like that and you don't want them to make any changes to the bike. You can also run diagnostics, change your units. We're going to change it to Imperial, and yeah, man, pretty nice new app. So that is the new eride Pro app. We've got the settings where we want them at the moment, and yeah, let's go ride this thing. All right, so our sensors are off, so we're just in the ready mode all the time now, which is where we want it to be. Eco, pretty mellow. I'll just start an eco, but that's the nice thing about the SR and this Bluetooth app is that you can make this hot rod of a bike super mellow. Kind of changes it from a gnarly, fast, high-powered e-moto into something that a beginner could own and ride. So don't let the SR fool you. Yes, it's their fastest kind of high-end bike from eride Pro, but it's also the most tunable, which means anybody can ride this bike, which makes that kind of nice. But we don't want to ride it in eco. That's not why we came up here. Kind of set sport to where I want it. Race is always just a handful on this bike, especially up here on the trails. So I'm gonna try it in sport. This is like 70% power. Not too much, but plenty of get up and go to have some fun. Yeah, man, already stance of this bike feels so much better. Yeah, even 70% on this bike, man, this thing rips. Power is not as jerky as I remember the earlier edition SR. That was always something that people complained about, myself included. Power delivery feels better on this thing. It's not slow, it's definitely spiky, but it's more refined than it was before. I'm gonna stop for 1 second here, change a couple settings. I've got regen off right now, but you've got 1, 2, and 3 levels of regen. I'm just gonna turn it to 1. I just want a little bit of engine braking. Yeah, it rips still, man. It's an SR. That has not changed. Good Lord, man. It just goes to show you how powerful this bike is. Even at 70%, it is an exciting amount of power on the SR. I really do feel like the throttle delivery is better. That was a complaint earlier on with the earlier model SRs, but they've definitely done some tuning. Feels better to me. Still a hard-hitting bike, don't get me wrong. The SR is a fast bike if you want it to be. This SR is running the, oh my goodness, just as I was about to talk about the brakes, I had to grab a handful of them. Forgot about that corner. And yeah, quick reminder. Yes, these are the Type 2 brakes as I navigate through this narrow section. I'm gonna talk about the more boring stuff first, like the brakes and the seat, the fatty. She's got a fatty, boys. And yeah, it's nice, it's comfortable. Yeah, try not to sit down too much when I'm riding off-road, but you know, in corners and stuff, you wanna put your rear end on the seat. It feels plush for your keister. Your rear end, your hindquarters will appreciate this fatty seat. You can actually buy the fatty seat and put it on any of the other eride Pro models, so it's not the rarest thing ever, but it's nice that it comes stock on this bike. I usually do not care about seats, kind of indifferent, but sitting down on this thing, I notice it for sure. Feels really good. Man, this bike is hard to not ride fast with this power. This is the most fun I think I've had on an SR. So for the things that you guys want to know, how does it feel, man? Feels really good. This thing is sitting 1 inch higher with this longer travel front fork, and it's noticeable. It feels like a dirt bike. This bike feels big in a good way. Upright, not stink bug. Oh my God, they made a bike that's not stink bug. Can you imagine? Oh man, it's fun. Yeah, it rides really well. It rides like a dirt bike. It's got the stance that you want for an off-road rider. Very rare thing to get a stock bike in this category with this type of stance. But they did it, finally they did it. Thank you. It's not that you can't achieve this in the aftermarket. You obviously can. We've been doing it for a lot of our bikes and customers' bikes, but to just buy it out of the box, and it's pretty darn correct. Feels really good. Good job, eride Pro. Sticking on the topic of suspension, it's pretty stiff. It really is. This thing is running a 60-pound spring in this fast-stage fork, and yeah, it's firm. Definitely, probably more geared for faster moto, high-speed stuff. In the small chatter here, yeah, it's a little stiff. I've got clickers pretty much open on compression. It's definitely gonna reward those hard chargers out there that are gonna ride this bike hard. Seems like it can handle it. And man, the stance, it just feels like a dirt bike. It's what we've all been asking for. Now, while we're talking stance on this thing, gotta point out the bar and cockpit situation on this thing. It's still running the riser bars, and it's still running the riser stem. So all of that paired with this 1 inch taller fork, it definitely sits high in the front. I like the way the bike itself feels in terms of balance, but bar and bar clamp wise, I'd probably lower it down a little bit. It's what I even said on the stock SR, or standard edition, I should say. I think it's what eride should have done. They made the right call by doing it, because a lot of you guys do like this like super tall bar feel. So you could run a different bar clamp like the heavy hitter, or just a flatter bar and get more of a neutral bar position, not so high. So like I said, some of you guys like that high bar feeling. It's definitely personal preference, to each their own. I like a flatter bar that's more in line with the fork tubes. Even if it is low in the front, I prefer that feel, but it's easy to change and upgrade. And I think eride Pro made the right call by keeping their riser bars for those of you that like that feel. Oh my goodness, there was those brakes again. We need some aggressive pads for these brakes. Brakes probably not the strongest attribute of the eride Pros. I think some aggressive pads would do these brakes really well, and I'm hoping the aftermarket comes out with some options for this style of brake. The brakes are decent. They are better than what they were. They're better than some other bikes, but I still want more bite, especially with a bike of this type of power. All right, let's talk about wheels and tires on the special edition here. So this is running the 19-inch front and 16-inch rear, which is a super common wheel size for upgrading on these lightweight e-motos. Big reason why is just gives you a lot more tire options for true dirt bike tires, and you can run those without rubbing on the chain. So with the 18-inch rear, there just aren't any tire options. We get asked this a lot, what tire to upgrade to once you've burned up your stock tire on the 18-inch rear wheel, and there really aren't any great options that fit these small bikes, aside from just running the stock tire. Yeah, you can upgrade to more of a dual sport, like Shinko 241 style tire, but if you want knobbies, there just really aren't any options. But with a 16-inch rear, you've got so many more options, and that's a huge benefit to running this wheel size. It hasn't historically been my favorite. I've been more of a 21-18 kind of guy, but once again, it's really hard to fit an 18-inch rear tire on the back of this eride Pro or any of the lightweight bikes. You can squeeze a Dunlop MX-33 90-118. It is a tight fit. You often have to dish your rear wheel to make it happen. And dishing the rear wheel really kind of isn't great. It moves the rear wheel out of line of the bike, so it can feel a little funny. Either way, not to ramble on about tires, but the point is you have a lot more tire options with this 16-inch rear. So when you do burn up this stock rear tire, you're gonna have a lot more options. And then in terms of the front, it's running that classic SR front tire, which is a good one. It's beefy, it's aggressive, it's got good grip. It's a good stock front tire for this bike. So although I may not be a 1916 guy historically, I think it's the right fit for these lightweight e-motos, and it just is the right fit for this bike. So much power. eride Pro SR Special Edition. What a pleasant surprise. I wasn't exactly sure how this bike was gonna feel. Truthfully, it feels really great. These changes are what this bike should have in the first place. So hats off to eride Pro for honestly paying attention, listening to us, and making that change. This bike rides way more like a dirt bike now. The stance of the bike feels appropriate. It feels like it should. The only thing that I would want to mess with at this point is just some changes to bar height, and we can achieve that either with a different stem or less of a rise in an aftermarket handlebar. So we may toy around with those options a little bit, but aside from that, this bike is riding great. The fatty seat feels super comfortable. We had issues with the Type 1 brakes diving in towards the wheel, so these Type 2 brakes, they're holding straight in line with the fork tube. That's a benefit. The new app is great, dialed in the power, 70%, felt great. I rode it in that all day. It was where I wanted it to be. And now we have tire options with that 16-inch rear. So when this rear tire burns up, we'll be able to replace it. All positive things. This bike rips. It's probably the most fun I've had on an SR to date was this ride today, and I am attributing that to the changes that were made to this bike. So mission accomplished. eride Pro SR is back, better than ever. Really like this thing. Probably gonna put a bunch more seat time on it while we've got good weather here in Colorado. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. See ya.